we're down to measuring it in hours. And we're just 23 days out from the election. And I can tell you, you've got a hard-working group of candidates. We're out there, we're doing everything we possibly can. But what this race is going to come down to is turnout. It's simply that it's not rocket science at this point. Every door we knock, every phone call we make is going to win this election. You are our front line. You are our defense. We cannot compete. The Koch brothers have spent $5 million against me since the primary. $5 million. I've got a fake news newspaper, Review Journal, that's blasting me every single day. But I've got you, and that's the only chance we have. If we turn out our voters, we win on November 6th. It's that simple. If on early voting day, a week from yesterday, we start turning out our voters, we win. If we get lazy and we stay home, we're in trouble. So it's coming down to crunch time. It's coming down to you are our hope. You're our future. There's a lot of young faces here, and it gives me a lot of hope knowing that there's so many young people here that are so anxious, so enthused, and so willing to do the work that needs to be done, the hard work. I know it's not easy. Sometimes you knock on the door and somebody gives you a hard time. Then they're done that, got the t-shirt. I know it's tough. I know it's tough when somebody hangs up on the phone at you and curses at you, but I tell you what, you got to go on to the next one. You got to go on to the next one and convince that person. That could make the difference. We're talking to thousands of people across the state, just like you, that are helping us. If every one of you get us 1 or 2 votes, just 1 or 2, it can make the difference in this entire race. That's how close these races are going to be. So with that, I can't thank you enough. And this is about, the difference between me and my opponent is stark. If you support what he believes in, you're not standing in this room. If you support what he does, which is denying women's right to choose, denying funding education, denying funding and equality for all people, if he denying veterans, denying senior citizens, he's just deny, backward. That's what Adam Laxalt is. We're here to move forward. We're here to make this a better state for the next generation to have the same opportunities that we have today. Yes. And I need your help to make that happen, okay? I can't thank you enough for what you're doing. I can't thank you enough for what you're going to do for the next 23 days as we lead up the election time. But know in your hearts it's making a difference. It is making a big, big difference. We need you, we thank you, we love you. Thank you all very much. And I want to introduce my good friend Chad. He's going to bring it home for us here.
Are we ready to make Steve Sisolak the next governor of the great state of Nevada? And are you ready to make Kate Marshall the next lieutenant governor of the great state of Nevada? And Jackie Rosen the next senator from the state of Nevada. There are incredible candidates up and down the ballot in this state. I see so much energy. I was here a few months ago. I saw both of these incredible candidates. In fact, Kate and I were in Reno just a few weeks ago. The energy is incredible. And here's what you have to know. They're scared of you. The other side has all the money in the world. But do you know what the opponents of these two are afraid of? Do you know what Donald Trump, Mike Pence, and the rest of the far right are afraid of? They're afraid of you. Because this is what they don't have. They can spend all the out-of-state money they want attacking these incredibly qualified candidates. But they don't have the grassroots army. And what you are doing is making history. Don't let anybody tell you that it doesn't matter what you're doing. Because each conversation you have, each door you knock on, each phone call you make, each dollar you donate, it truly can determine whether we have these pro-equality champions leading the state or going to the Senate, or if we have far-right extremists. The differences couldn't be greater. You think of these two people I'm standing between, they've spent their entire careers fighting for fairness and for equality and for equal justice under law. Look at their opponents. They've literally spent their entire careers figuring out how they can discriminate, how they can revoke protections or stop non-discrimination protections, stop protections moving forward on LGBTQ youth. It's unconscionable. You know, in public service, you step up like these two incredible leaders have, and you go one of two routes. You say, how can I make this state a better place for everyone? How can we treat everyone equally? Make sure everyone is protected. Make sure everyone has equal opportunity under the law. Or you do what their opponents have done. And you say, how can I use my time in public service to discriminate against LGBTQ people or against immigrants or against women? That's the choice one makes when you sign up for public service. These two are heroes. They've spent their careers fighting for all of us, fighting for everyone in this state equally. And we have, how many more hours do we have till early vote starts?
Right now it's about 138.
Not that anyone's counting. 138 hours till early vote starts.
It was more this morning.
It was. Every hour comes out one, that's right.
And then, 23 more days.
Yes, she is.
23 more days until this election, and until together we all make history. There will be a moment in time where we're all last, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Our kids, grandkids, they're going to ask, where were you then? Where were you then? And you all have incredible answers to that. You were not only voting yourself, you were signing up others to vote, you were knocking on doors to get people to vote early, you were making phone calls to get people to turn out and vote for pro-equality candidates up and down the ballot. Let me close with this before I hand the mic over to your next Lieutenant Governor. You're told this every single election, that this is the most important election of your lives. But guess what? With the future of our democracy on the ballot and the equality of future generations on the ballot, this election is actually the most important election of our lives. Let's do this, Nevada. Join me in welcoming your next Lieutenant Governor, Dave Marshall.
I'm supposed to stand on the dock here. All right, so first things first. When I ran in 2006, my opponent outspent me 3-1. But I had something he didn't have. I had you. And you can't buy an election. One person, one vote. So, when you go to those doors and people say to you, well, why? Why should I vote? Okay? Why? You say, because you need to have a voice. And I'll tell you what your voice will do. It will raise the minimum wage. Okay? Because the minimum wage now is lower than it was in 1968. And you tell them that. You say, if you were working in 1968, you were making more then than you're making today. They say, why? And you say, because your education of your children is the future of this state. And if we don't educate our children, then our children won't be able to have an opportunity. They won't be able to be winners. They say, why? And you say, because health care should be affordable and a woman shouldn't have to choose between her prescriptions and her rent. And that's what you say to these people. And you say it is one person, one voice. And we heard at the Kavanaugh hearings, we heard it was one man, one voice. But that when a woman spoke, she wasn't heard. Unless many, many, many people need to come and speak, which is why you need to elect Jackie Rosen, which is why you need Governor Sisolak, which is why you are out there today. So when you go to those doors and they say, oh, no, thank you, and you say, I want you to have a voice. That's what you tell people. Because people in this country are in this country. We call ourselves Americans because we believe we have a voice. And that's what this election is about, being an American. Thank you.
Thank you all so much much for being here. Now let's start turning out the vote. Thank you.